Good morning, everybody. I am Fire Lotus here. I do these morning live witches chats Monday through Friday, anywhere from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really quick, before I go on to everything I'm about to go through. First of all, if you're new, welcome. And before, yes, I will explain this, what's on my face. But, with that being stated, if you hear any dogs barking at any point in time, those are my neighbor's dog. There's nothing I can do about that. But if you hear a cat meowing and or sounding like they're, well, going crazy, that is just my dear familiar licker, who he is not allowed in the craft room due to the simple fact, well, he won't stay still. And there's way too much stuff in here for him to knock over that shouldn't get knocked over. So, with that being stated, today is going to be slightly special due to the fact the people that have been with me since the beginning of these, the Oracle card that that I've been breaking down, which is the Halloween Oracle deck. Due to the simple fact, I do not want to end something like this on the beginning of a week, which would be Monday. We will actually be going over 2 cards today. After these 2, tomorrow, we will officially have went through the entire Halloween Oracle deck alphabetically. And it is so, good morning, it is so amazing and so insane of how both of these cards synced up with today. By the way, happy full Gemini moon, everybody. It is the last of the decade. I don't know if y'all are feeling it. I've been feeling it since last night. I did do 1 or 2 things last night. I have some clients' work that I have to do tonight as well. And then one of the main things that I'm actually going to do, and I suggest this to anybody, and before anybody who hears it, where they're like, well, I may not have the stuff to do this, I guarantee you probably will. So, also, I will be going over using this to also help, but I will be breaking down the moon phases, and basically what they mean, the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, the waning moon. Ha! I knew I had that backwards yesterday. So, yesterday I was talking about why and technically how there are 3 nights to a full moon. Yesterday, which was the 11th, that was technically 99% waxing. See, I said it backwards yesterday. Last night's moon, up until 12 o'clock, 12 a.m., I'm still trying to figure out how people view that, but I think it's in just whatever the witch feels. But, and then tomorrow, which is Friday the 13th, also the last Friday the 13th of this decade, it will be waning 99%. And you can still use those 99 stages as either the start to a spell or to finish a spell out. But, so, yeah, we have some things to talk about as well. I almost got triggered earlier, and I don't even like using that term or phrase. Oh, wait, before I get into this. As everybody should know before, I always push this because I use it during all of my lives. Before and after. This is some sage, charged under the full moon. It is sage vibrational spray that my dear good friend, makes, and her business and her apothecary is called 3 Sleepy Eyes Apothecary. She has a Instagram, a Facebook, and an Etsy. Totally check her out. She has loads of stuff, not just sprays. She has homemade Florida water that is actually, she naturally dyes it blue. Mind blown on that one. So yeah, she also makes amazing teas. You should totally check her out. So, with that being stated, I will also eventually go over the app that I always talk about. No, I'm not being sponsored by any of this, but these are the points of my video, is to educate and share stuff that works for me in my life. So yeah, with that being stated, since we are finishing these, preferably by the end of this month, or I would say by next Monday, I will post and literally drive people crazy with how much I will be asking this. I do need to know if y'all want to start breaking down the Native American, it's the medicine wheel because I know I've said like basically it is the Native American medicine wheel meditation deck. And yeah. So if we choose this, if y'all choose to break these down, I will be doing it just like I've done these, but I will actually probably start this Monday. If not, and we decide to go with the tarot cards due to the fact that how many there are and that I will be breaking them all down, we will actually start that January, and then it'll be like a new year, new start thing. So yeah. That being stated, I normally take notes. I'm horrible at that. Also, with that, my 2 lives that I've done day before yesterday and yesterday, I'm going to have to wait until probably Friday or Saturday because I'm having some technical difficulties with how I upload them and everything. So they are not currently up on my YouTube, but my lives are always on my Facebook. But I also know I use my YouTube because people do not use Facebook all the time. But how many people do you know that actually don't use YouTube? Personally, I don't know anybody unless they just don't know how to use a phone or a touchscreen phone, or they don't have access to one. Anyways, yesterday was a very interesting video. I actually had a lot of people message me, or a few people message me. So yeah, but new things are coming, and what I wanted to do before I really get into the whole moon phases, tonight in particularly, what I will be doing for the full moon. Some people would say you should do this during a new moon, which I probably still will do it with a new moon as well, but I am going to take basically a cleansing bath. Except for I'm going to take it a little bit farther than that. The decade water that I talked about making, which is basically all the moon waters that you have collected in the past decades. Get a little bit of all of them and add them to one jar. You literally have a decade's worth of moon magic and or solar magic in a jar. But one of the last hurricanes that we had, or we at least got rain off of, I collected that water. Hurricane water or storm water can be extremely powerful on a positive note and on a more negative, mischievous note. But specifically for cleansings and, cleansings, but on a really, really deep, powerful level. And the reason I state that is because I've already used the hurricane water once to take a cleansing bath, and I'm getting chills just talking. I just got chills up my spine, but I've felt different types of charged water. This, on the other hand, you know that moment where you hold a shell up to your ear and you can hear the ocean, or what it sounds like the ocean, but it's an auto illusion. That's basically what happened in the water itself. When I submerged myself completely, it was literally it was like I was in the center. My mind automatically went to I was in the center of this cleansing hurricane. And it, all the gunk and all the stuff that you have on you from all the shit that we have survived in the past decade. Some of that stuff, depending on, what it is and how deep it goes, it's very, very hard to, get off you. You kind of got to scrub it off you. A hurricane bath or a storm bath, that shit will rip it off of you. And I mean, it all depends on, you literally, if you just want to do it with storm water, you can, or just moon water, you can. But a lot of people, they add herbs and stuff like that. A lot of the herbs that most people have in their kitchens can be put into a bath water as basically banishing properties. Or just in general herbs to use. I will actually post a list. I know I state this a lot, that I'm going to post stuff on it. It's just because I'm having to do everything from one phone. When I have my hotspot, I have access to multiple devices at once. And sometime next year, we're currently planning to get good internet out here. Once that happens, I actually may start going live on 2 platforms. And eventually, sometime next year, I will be moving some of my lives to my YouTube page just because I have more freedoms there. Currently, with my Instagram, I haven't really been active on there, and I think I actually got shadow banned, which sucks. But back to the story, or back to the suggestion. Pepper's really good to use. Cinnamon can be used. Garlic can be used. Actually, for the people that suffer with acne, garlic is really, really good to like wash your face off with too. Rosemary is extremely good for that, and rosemary is also extremely good for like me, for example, if you have natural oily hair and skin like I do, rosemary, if you were to actually like soak rosemary in water and kind of like use it as a hair rinse, almost like dry shampoo, what it does is actually it helps regulate the body's oil glands when it comes to the hair and the skin. So using that can help. But if you don't want to necessarily do a banishing ritual, because for me personally, like last night I did my own little thing. Like, I went on Instagram, which is a no-no normally with me during the full moons. Because, you know, if you suffer from depression or anything like that and you just don't have it in you to really do anything at all, going on social media, it can have a very, very big negative effect on you because you're like, okay, well, I see all these other witches around the world, all these practitioners doing all this stuff, and I physically just don't have it in me to do it. So, yeah, I would suggest staying off with Facebook or Instagram or any social media platform like that during the 3 nights of the full moon if you are having a down moment. But also remember, for the people that do suffer from depression, not that it's like an advantage, because kind of it is, but it isn't. People that suffer with depression, we tend to manifest things. Yeah, I'll use that word. Not necessarily faster or like an upward advantage than other people, but due to the simple fact that naturally our bodies are and our brains are lacking the chemicals that we need, when we do actually tend to focus on something we really want, due to the fact that we're basically using all the extra reserves that we don't have but we're mustering up, things tend to manifest faster. Now, for the people that are new to this and the type of magic that I do, it's very weird, and I'm still in this huge awakening of, like, I'm at that point where it's very funny because I had this conversation with my partner last night that I've never had with another person, which is, I'm starting to realize here, actually in the past month, not in the past month, I'm kind of in this weird state where, like, the stuff that I have manifested or the stuff that has happened in my math magically, I'm trying to decipher which was the magic that I did and then what was the natural psychic abilities that I was picking up on, if that makes any sense. Because there are a lot of things that, like, the state that I use, or the term that I use is basically speaking something into existence, which is when you're like, you know, you talk about somebody you haven't seen in years, months, weeks, you haven't talked to anything, and literally right after you state that, you run right into them. I've done that multiple times. I've spoken people into my life that I did not want in my life. But when it comes to that and other stuff like that that I've called or that I have done spells for, I'm in that weird state because I have realized that you do not necessarily have to have all the stuff that, well, they teach you in books in books. You will get to a point in your magic, I don't care how long you've been practicing or what path you practice, you will naturally get to a point to where you will not need a full altar setup to actually manifest stuff into your head. One of the books that I keep shouting out, also, Pinzak's Temple series. That's basically what the first book is. He teaches you to create a sacred temple in your head. That way, if you ever are in a place to where you don't have access to your tools that you normally use, you can mentally go there and mentally do magic, aka instant magic, aka manifesting. And it's very, very confusing because there's not an actual one go-to book for people that do have or their abilities are waking up, and then the person with those abilities that are also practicing every day as a practicing witch. So, like, I'm at that stage where I've never been in my life to where I'm actually sitting down and I'm like, wait, was this the spells and the magic and the charms and the offerings that I put out there? Or was this just me psychically picking up on it? Or was it a mixture of both? And it's very weird because 2 years ago, I wouldn't been able to sit down and, like, talk about everything that I'm talking about, and it's just, yeah. But, with the new moon, or with the moon cycles, get back to that. I'm sorry if you're new to this and you're joining in. This is how I work. I will go from back to back to fourth, but I promise you will learn something. So yeah, the moon cycles. For the people that don't know, on top of the full moon, I also learned something last night that I have to do more research on, but I read that since this was the last full moon of the decade, this full moon, or the effects of the full moon, they're actually going to last up until December the 26th, which is the solar eclipse. Now, if that's true, I don't know. That's the first time I heard it, but if it is true, then that's really cool, because that's almost like a week to 2 week time of just pure Gemini energy, which I don't know how I feel about this whole Gemini energy, because yeah, my charts and where all my planets are, all I'm seeing is responsibilities. Stand up, or like, it's weird. But yeah, there's the eclipse. We're also on top of, because everybody's pushing this full moon, we're also going to have one of the last new moons of the decade too. And that right there can shoot you, that you can use this new moon coming up, due to the simple fact it is the last one, to theoretically, well, jumpstart what you want to manifest in 2020. Because 2020 is also a leap year, and I've talked about that. Leap year, you have a 4-year chance to do a 4-year spell. That'll start January the 1st, or in the month of January, and then it will end 4 years from now in December. If the human race and everything else is hopefully still standing. I don't know, the world's getting crazy as crazy every day. So, anyways, to this. Guide to the moon phases. This is I don't know the actual author to this, but I do know the people that made this is Llewellyn's. I don't know if they're still making these, but this was part of the Mind Body Collection binder. Like, technically it was the first subscription box I'd ever seen, and it was way before we had Instagram and social media and all that other shit. Well, no, I think we had MySpace. But it was one of the ones where, like, you actually had to rip it out of the back of the book, or back of one of their books, and actually mail it in or call a number. Mail catalog, there we go. Okay, so, once in a blue moon, which I don't think we're having one of those, but the complete sequence in a moon phase from a new moon, new to a full, takes a little over 29 days. So there are 12 full moons in some years and 13s in others. Approximately every 2.5 years, 2 full moons will fall within a single calendar month. The second is known as a blue moon, and magic performed under it is twice as strong as normal. Now, here, I think it was last year. I want to say it was last year. It could have been this year. Actually, I also want to say it was 2017. We had 1 or 2 years where we had, not only did we have a rare blue moon, but it was actually a blue supermoon, and then we've also had blood moons. Okay, so, there we go. New moon. These are things that you can do. When the crescent moon is visible, horns facing left. It's the first time I've ever heard it directed like that. I always stated it was like a thumbnail. Horns facing left. It is time to begin a new venture and start projects. Trim your hair now. It will grow stronger. Light a white candle and make a wish for a month. Never heard of that one. Move to a new house, start a new job, or begin a relationship. Begin an exercise routine or a healthy eating plan now. And see, it's funny because a lot of people, I guess due to the whole blow up with the social media and shit, a lot of people don't normally, like, because when I first came out of when I first started practicing, like, that's all I'd ever done that's all I'd ever heard. You start your new projects and your new stuff on the new moon, and then use the full moon to boost that up. And now it's like so many people are just focusing on the full moon, the full moon, the full moon. When you can use every moon cycle, which we're about to learn, but you can use every moon cycle that we have for some type of spell. Now, of course, that also goes with what type of practitioner you are, because I don't always use the moon. Like, I'm not that witch who waits 4 months, 3 days, and 2 weeks at the exact time for the moon to be at the exact phase. But if you do, that's perfectly fine. That's That's how magic works with you. Magic works with everybody. You can get 5 books written by 5 different people in the exact same subject, and I guarantee you, only a few things in that book are going to be almost word for word. Because magic is in the eye of the beholder, honestly. What works for one witch is not going to work for another witch. And if it does, then great. You've unlocked something that a lot of people have a lot of hard time unlocking. Okay, the waxing moon. Focus on creating magic during the waxing moon. Perform spells for health, wealth, or love. Think possibly during this phase, and your confidence will grow with the moon. Affirmations will encourage a positive attitude. Stand in front of a mirror every morning and say, I am a creator and a confident person. I am a creative and confident person. You may feel silly, but it will work. I suggest you doing that. This is very true on that one. You check that box, but it looks good on you. Like, that whole new look you have going on, you totally own that shit. Honestly, though, with this, I am creative and I'm a confident person. I honestly suggest everybody. I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to try to start reminding myself to turn it into a daily routine. Because the whole affirmation things, they don't always work. I've seen a bunch of affirmations, and just because how weird and twisted and, dark humorous my mind is, yeah, some of them don't work. Sorry about that. Good morning. But, also, always remember that being a witch and being a spiritual person, you don't always have to be positive. It's great to always be positive because you're attracting things and even when shit's about to get real, the universe has your back. But at the same time, there are moments where we just need to, feel and let those emotions roll through us and then, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and, run back into the fucking fiery blaze that's called life. My favorite saying that I've always, and normally when I get really, really down with my depression, I'll repeat it every morning before I get out of bed, which is, fate whispers to the warrior, you will not withstand the storm. The warrior whispers back, I am the storm. And for all the shit that I personally been through for 26 years, and I'm still here and I haven't went down the road that other people in my family have went down, which that's also, I've done a video on, literally my spirituality and my beliefs have kept me from going down darker roads. Normally with my depression, when I get to that stage where, I lose interest in everything, the craft, practicing witchcraft, magic, and spirituality is the one thing that I've never walked away from. If anything, the darker my depression gets, the more I dive deeper into it. It's very weird. I guess most people would see that or hear more with the AA, and not necessarily linked to a church or Christian, but a lot of that is. You don't really hear that many pagan support groups for, AA or all the other stuff. Although, hello, that's an idea right there. I don't know what to do with that idea, but that is a really good idea, is to have a pagan AA meeting. Because being AA or having any meetings like that, going to them can be just tense and crazy as hell, but going to them knowing you may be the only practitioner there in a room full of other people that believe in something completely different may be intimidating. But I think it would personally be, I know I would feel more comfortable going to a support group that were like-minded, spiritual people. So there's an idea. But back to the moon things. Okay, we went over the new moon phase, the waxing phase, full moon phase, which is tonight, or today. When the full moon, the moon is at its highest point in the energy and its power. This is the phase most associated, I can't talk, with magic. See? Yes, I will somehow figure that out and how to pull that together without it getting completely under control. Okay, good morning, and I love you too, Mom. Contemplating on magic spells and wishings, emphasizing fulfillment and abundance, such as taking exams or completing a task. With that, for the students out there, even if you're just a even if you're not a practitioner. Now when I show you this, it does not have to be what I'm about to show you. It doesn't have to be the exact one, but wearing a key, any type of key, a house key, a journal key, a random key, because I know I have like a keychain of random keys that goes to cars, houses, all of that. Wearing that during an exam helps you unlock knowledge that you already have. On top of that, adding that with tiger's eye while you're studying, and if possible, if you can, get a yellow candle. If not, get a white candle and picture it yellow. It will help you absorb the knowledge and help the knowledge that you're studying actually stick in your head. And then you could carry amethyst for anxiety. There are crystals and stones out there that literally can be used for just like test anxiety and stuff like that. Okay. This is an excellent time to perform love spells, spells for success, and also best cast under a full moon. Honestly, any spell you do under a full moon, it's gonna be powerful, for one, just due to the simple fact it's 100% illuminated. But I also know people that actually do not work with the moon. They actually work with the sun. So, like, but the whole lunar thing and the whole... I do want to talk about... Well, let me finish these two, and then I'll go into something else that... Due to the boom that we're having and this huge change and shift that we've been having with all of the, well, witchcraft in general and spirituality, how much it's blown up, I want to see where y'all all stand on it. Because I've already told people where I stand on it. But, okay, there we go. Waning moon, which is basically the night after the full moon, or the phase after the full moon. Waning moon, as the moon decreases, it is an ideal time to focus on what you want, what you would like to disappear from your life. So perfect! Friday, tonight, do all your full moon magic. Tomorrow night, if you wanted to, do the banishing thing. I actually did one last night. I would do another one tonight, and then I'll do one tomorrow night. And that's just making sure there are things that I do not want to carry with me in the next decade. Like, no. No. 2020 is the year that I'm breaking out of this personal imprisonment that I got going on here. Perform magic to diminish your debts, lessens your anxiety to make an illness shrink away, or to put off an unwanted admirer. With the whole debt thing, when it comes to like power bills or rent or stuff like that, you can always write what the debt is and put it in the freezer. You can actually put it in water and then freeze it, but I also just throw it in the freezer and forget about it, and it will help freeze that situation. Now, I'm not saying you can do that and, like, you're going to be able to skate by and not pay anything for, like, months, but in tight situations, especially financially, small things like that, they do help, trust me. When I got into a sticky situation last year in Alabama after my grandmother passed away, and I used that, and it actually did work. I had to repeat it multiple times, but it bought me enough time because the person we were renting from did not like me, and after my grandmother passed away, she just wanted me out. She didn't want to have anything to do with me, and I had to wait until I could come back down here. So, yeah, it actually did buy me time. Like, legit. There are small things you can do every day that buys you time. But basically what that does is it freezes the situation. And it's not just with debt, it's anything. If any type of situation you could think of, if you could possibly freeze it or slightly postpone it, that's a great way of doing it. And it is magic. Afterwards, by the way, you can either A, just keep it in your freezer if you wanted to. Afterwards, though, once that conversation or anything is like settled and like dealt with, then you would be able to, I personally burn anything that I write on a paper that's part of a spell. Once that spell is completed and done, I tend to burn them. But that's just because my element is fire. I feel more channeled and charged while I'm working with some type of fire. Now, what I mean is, if I'm inside, I have some type of candle lit somewhere nearby me. If I'm outside, if I can, I will have a fire going in a fire pit. And to even put that out there more, any type of cardboard that we get in this house, I actually like pizza for me. That's my depression. That's like my go-to pizza food. Go-to depression food when I'm depressed is pizza. So I do have a stack of just empty pizza boxes that literally they're just for the burn pile. It also keeps trash down, but they're just for the burn pile. Now, when I do magic and fire, no, I'm not saying I use trash to burn it. I don't. I have wood. But right now, currently, I can't have a fire until I trim some of my property down. Because if I have a fire now and the wind blows a certain way, well, you're going to be able to see this lake from space because it's going to set the entire ring of the lake on fire. And we don't want that. My neighbors don't want that, and I damn sure don't want that. Visualize all your problems and gratitude decreasing. It is good fortune to give to others during this phase. So there you go. If you do work with the moon phase, the waning moon is one of the best moon stages to do spells and healing stuff for other people. That also falls in line with a karma spell. And for anybody who doesn't know what a karma spell is, or my definition of a karma spell, there are two actually. Basically, for the people that do a little, they will fuck with people's lives under the, I'm not going to say right circumstances, but you get what I'm saying. They'll do karma spells. Basically, prior or before you do the hex or the curse or whatever you're going to do, you do like a week's worth of nothing but unselfish magic. And I'm not saying it works. I've done it before, and I'm not saying it does work or it doesn't work. But basically, the idea behind it is it kind of puts a little extra oomph, like good energy out there, because whatever you do, like I said, ripple effect, it may come back or it will come back, whatever you believe. But if you tend to put a little bit more good out there before you possibly do something like that, it's like a buffer. It kind of buffers the, that karmatic slap in the face for you. But that's also just kind of where your moral compass stands and what you believe and don't believe in. And that will also change. I know my beliefs have changed dramatically. And then, of course, the dark moon. Honestly, one of my favorite, besides the full moon, the dark moon is one of my favorite types of moon. Dark moon, as the moon shrinks to nothing and turns its face away from the world, you will be wise to follow its example. Replenish your inner resources by withdrawing and looking inward. Practice yoga or meditation, rather, aka what that just meant, or what that just said, replenishing your inner resources and withdrawing and looking inward. Perfect time for what? Shadow work. Practice yoga and or meditation rather than acts of magic at this time. Evaluate what you want, but take no action until the new moon. Now, that was what I wanted to kind of talk about, of how there are a lot of people and practitioners that have kind of broke out of that. But at the same time, again, these videos, I'm not trying to specifically be teacher. Like, I do teach people outside of these videos, but these videos are supposed to be educational. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to convert you or to convince you that what I'm saying is true. If it rings true with you, then it rings true, and that's literally the entire point of these videos. With that also being stated, like I said before, for the people, if anybody is new who hasn't seen these before, the marks and stuff on my face, it's kind of a personal ritual, self-empowerment ritual that I go through. That's all. And I have some videos where I have nothing on my face, and I have other videos where I have more on my face. It all changes. My look changes with my personality. So, yeah, like, there's the moon. Wait, your moon charms. Okay, and that's basically charging stuff with, the moon, and there are multiple ways of doing that with crystals to charge and cleanse them. For cleansing them, I was originally taught to, it has to be a minimum of like 3 days buried in the dirt or in the earth. And if you don't want to do that, because I have lost crystals like that, literally, I went out of my way to make sure I would not forget the place that I buried them at. I went back, got all of them except for 1 or 2 of them were gone. But you can always get a terracotta pot or a flower pot, get earth from it and put it in there, and bam. You do not have to, there are so many things that you can tweak to basically make stuff your own. Like, there are a lot of things. If I actually had, like, say our entire witch community was in an actual caste system, like, more like the movies and stuff. If I had, like, a high supreme person come in here, a witch that has been like, practicing for, like, 60 or 70 years, he or she or they or however, that witch will probably, there are things that I do in my craft and stuff like that where they'd probably be like, but you know what? I don't care, because at the end of the day, my magic speaks for itself. My knowledge speaks for itself. And, yeah. With that, also, because I have been pushing this, and until I get one thing situated, I have to fix it. On, the witch's payment thing, and the wish list that I had, I have to get, and I'm only doing this for the safety of me, and my partner, and our property, I have to get a P.O. box before I actually want to start initiating that. That way, because right now, only a handful of people, even in this state, actually have my physical address. So, I have to get a P.O. box before I'm going to do that, which is one of the incorporations that I'm doing into next year. So, yeah. Because, no offense, I don't want a lot of people knowing my actual real address. So, I'd rather have a P.O. box to do that. And that's just for a safety thing. So, since we have 2 Oracle cards, I will be going over the first one, and then right before I finish this, I'll be going over the second one. Before I do that, I have to grab the phone that I use because I'm charging it. Because I left it on last night. And it was almost dead when I got in here. So, like, it wouldn't have lasted through the live. Okay, really quick, though, I do have to shout the other app out that changed my life. Astro Matrix. It's a free app. It basically, you'll get a personalized horoscope every single day. That's literally what it does. On top of that, it teaches you, and for anybody who wants to know or has been curious about it and been curious learning about it, it will help you learn astrology. It takes, the only information you will need is the exact time you were born. You don't have to if you can't find it or don't know it, but it'd be better to know it. And then the place you were born, you type that in, pulls up your natal chart and or birth chart, which is basically a screenshot of the sky at the exact moment you came into this earth. With that, I did learn something new, which I stated in yesterday's video. If you do already have the app, and if you haven't done this, go to your settings and turn on the GPS. And the only reason I'm saying that is because it will make sure that it's giving you GPS, like, the best, degrees and stuff like that of how the planets are above you and in the stars and stuff. So turn the GPS on. That goes in the settings, but it is free. They do have a subscription plan if you want more stuff, but every single day you get a daily horoscope, a weekly horoscope, and when I mean horoscope, it's not like, Aries of the day. No. It is, this is where the moon's at. These are aspects and these are things in your personal planet, and this is how it's going to affect you, or this is how it could affect you, or these are things that will awry, or things to look out for. Trust me, it is a lifesaver. It has saved my life not saved my life, but it's kept me from getting into some sticky situations, or just, having miscommunications and stuff like that. I'm telling you, you won't regret it if you download it. But yes, to get back to this, so since I'm doing 2 cards, and again, for anybody who's new to this, no, I did not plan any of this. I started this when I started these lives. We've been breaking them down alphabetically since October. So, with that, and the reason I'm about to say that, the first card, because I'm doing 2, and then I'm doing the last one tomorrow, and then we'll be ending it. That'll be the entire deck. But, winter. Ironic, no? Winter. Okay. Lightly I step, for the earth falls asleep, a lullaby to rest and pause, the soul's secrets to keep. Death is frightening, even though, or perhaps because, it is inconceivable. There we go. Inconceivable. However, as we move into winter, we know it's a sign It signals a literal and metaphysical death. In some parts of the planet, the extreme weather means snow and ice, bushes, all life. Oh, life. Blah, 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 blah. Let me start that back over. In some parts of the planet, the extreme weather means snow and ice buries all life, and the ground lies hollow and still. Hollow and still. Or follow and still. Okay. In winter, the earth slows down, and there is less light and often more wet weather. Many plants die back. Many animals are less active, and traditionally it was a leaner, more difficult time for those who worked on the land for their lives, for their living. Winter often brought with it the end of a life cycle, a figurative or literal death. Should the winter card appear to you, it is time to let what no longer serves you die away. Where it seems natural and right to let things that have been bothering you for some time die back, take real action to change those things. Anything that is superfluous, extra, and bounteous, release it. Burdenness, release it. Basically, and this is to me too, we have to stop holding on to all the shit that life has given us or thrown at us. We have to let it go. And this is the perfect time. And the simple fact, not only is it the end of the year, it's literally, we're on the countdown to the end of the year, but it's the end of a decade. We survived a decade. We leveled up. A lot of us will be leveling up. I know I'll be leveling up to level 27. That's a weird thing that I state instead of saying I'll be turning 27, level up. But I mean, hey, and I damn sure, if you would have asked me when I was 19, I damn sure wouldn't have been able to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make it 26 or 27. No. And by the way, for anybody who just turned 20 or something, you will not have your life figured out in your 20s. I am 26, going on 27, and literally every single day, it's like I'm waking up to play this new video game, and I got so frustrated at reading the instruction book that I just threw it away thinking I could do it without it. That's life in your 20s. I don't know what it's like in your 30s. I don't know what life is in your 30s. But I'm excited. I'm excited for next year. I'm excited that this decade is behind us. And I'm hoping and praying the 20s will be better. That sounded so weird. But no, it's as much as I say this year, this decade has been hell. At the same time, I've had some great experiences, so. But yeah, I mean, that's an amazing card, because for one, let's leave all of our shit. Let's leave all that stuff and just leave it. And what I mean by that is, if you're like me, and this is something that was new, so I guess this is a new, as I'm growing up. Before, when I was 22, 23, again, this is only within the last 2 years. Normally when a certain situation happens or anything like that, where I have to, emotionally, it's holy shit. Normally, I would handle those emotions right then and there, process them, let them flow over me, and then normally I'm fine. I'll bounce back. But due to everything that happened last year in 2018, and then everything that's happened this year, and due to situations that I was primarily in 2018, I was not in a situation to where I could process those feelings and emotions right then and there and then get over it. I had to kind of be the rock of the family. And yeah, through that I learned for the first time in my life, apparently, how to actually just push stuff down and just just keep going and going and going. And some people can work like that. And if you do, more power to you, because basically in August of this year is when my body kind of came to me and was like, stop. And I'm like, no, I gotta keep going. And my body and my brain and everything else was just like, stop. You overdone yourself. You need to relax and so yeah. And the reason I state that is because for the people that don't know, and I'm going to butcher this because I always do. I have agoraphobia, or agoraphobia, or gophobic. Agoraphobic? And I'm not getting into details with that, but that's something that's new. That I theoretically, if I understand how it works, I've probably had it the majority of my life, but it didn't actually fully kick in or fully show its ugly head until now. But I mean, I have had positive things happen out of it, aka I'm doing these, and aka the isolation, I guess, that I'm getting is actually helping me with a lot of spiritual stuff. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, the reason I stated that is because tomorrow would be the perfect time, and then also you could actually do this on the new moon this year. And technically you could use the solar eclipse's energy if you wanted to do a bath. And I know some people are going to be like, what the hell? Those are two different elements. But theoretically, I just can't, it kind of popped in my head, and it's perfect, actually. If you were to make eclipse water, theoretically, you could channel fire and phoenix energy into, well, in a way, having like a full phoenix cleanse. And astrologically, with everything that's adding up, it would be a perfect time. And it's so weird. I've never thought about using solar charged water for a bath, for a banishing bath. So many people focus on lunar water, but nobody, not a lot of people talk about solar water. And for anybody who's looking at me like, what the hell is solar water? Basically just a jar of water and or your oils, if you're making oils. You basically just sit it out in the sun, all day long. Get as charged as you possibly can. With that, actually, I learned of an herb that I actually have. It's called eyebright. It's so cool because you actually have to charge the herb in the morning light for a certain amount of hours. And the reason that is because if I had the packaging right now, I could read what it does. Basically, the way the plant is it actually does go to your eye and it stores it, but there's a part to the plant that kind of stores the light almost, so when it goes into your eye, it actually reflects it. Basically, it's supposed to help more light come in your eyes. But that's a very good herb to either A, have clarification, B, help with your third eye. Multiple things that you could do, and it's literally called eyebright. I have the powder form. I don't know if it comes in another form, but I have the powder form. But I mean, it's a perfect time. And if you do get a chance in the new moon, this is what I would suggest. If you want to do a type of shadow thing without full on facing that, try to get yourself in an environment, possibly in a room to where you're not going to get disturbed. Nobody's going to come in. And the reason, turn the lights down low. And if you have to, pull out that playlist. I know I still have one from my teenage years. Pull out that playlist that just makes you emotional as hell. And get to a point, not where you're forcing this, because if you force it, it's not going to work. But try to emotionally get to a point and sit there and tell yourself, it is okay to cry. It's okay to let these emotions come forth and flow out of me. Because if not, it's going to stay there, and it's going to be a snowball, and that one blockage is going to cause more blocks, and cause more blocks, into the point where you're completely blocked. And just tell yourself that it's okay to cry. It's okay. And if you're a man, I understand this may sound sexist, but I have to throw this out here because there is still a big stigma on the whole men don't cry. That's bullshit. Some of the strongest men I have ever seen are some of the men that will cry when they feel like crying. Crying does not make you weak. If anything, it makes you strong because you're showing vulnerability to the world or whoever else you're crying in front of. So, I don't care if you're male or female. Crying, screaming, shouting. Now, if you're going to scream and shout, I would suggest screaming in a pillow, or you don't want your neighbors being called saying there's a domestic violence, when in reality, you're going to have to go to the the front door when the cops get there and be like, no, nobody's beating the shit out of me. I am releasing all of my demons from this past decade. I wouldn't suggest saying release your demons, because that may end you up in the psych ward. But, not that there's anything wrong with the psych ward, but I don't think people want to go to the psych ward for fun. So, yeah, there's that. If you don't want to do that, or if you can't do that, try to get it can be a white candle, or it can be a piece of paper, right? Piece of paper, everybody can get that. Get a piece of paper from this day until the new moon, or until literally the last day of this year, or this month, right? Write down, and this does not have to be neat, it doesn't matter what it looks like at the end, because it's going to be destroyed anyways. Write down every single thing you do not want to carry into this decade, this new year, okay? And what I mean by that is it can literally be anything. If you have a issue with biting your nails, write it down. It can be habits, it can be hobbies, it can be interest, it can be people if you wanted to, it can be anything that you do not want to bring into this life. And carry that piece of paper with you every time you get a chance to, like every day. Now, here's the cool part and slightly charged, slightly increased part. If at any point in time during that you have those low moments where you want to cry, or there was a miscommunication and you wanted to scream at somebody, instead of actually verbally doing that, hold that piece of paper and direct those feelings and what you're feeling into that paper. That is basically what you're doing. You are emotionally charging your spell. And to me, that is one of the most powerful things that you can charge a spell with, because it is pure, raw emotion. That is literally like a lightning bolt from the sky, but personally from you. Do this up until the very last day or night. Now, you do not have to stay up, and if you do celebrate New Year's and like you do the whole, you wait until 12 o'clock, wait until 12 o'clock. When 12 o'clock comes around, you set that bitch on fire. And literally, you talk to it. Like, I talk to my candles, I talk to my spells, I talk to my crystals like I'm talking to you right now. If my house was made of glass, I'm pretty sure I would be known as the crazy person in Florida, because I talk to everything. But that's just me. I truly believe that, especially when it comes to crystals and then magic tools, over time, due to the fact that you're using them so much, some things do get a personality. Like, it sounds crazy, but I have 3 types of oracle and or tarot cards. They all 3 have different personalities. I have necklaces that have their own personalities. I know that sounds weird, but it's so true. I have jewelry that has its own personality. I haven't came across a plant with its own personality, but I'm pretty sure there's there. Like, but it's also, once you start to realize that there are a lot more things out there. And last night, actually, I had one of the biggest aha, holy shit moments I've ever had. The biggest so far that I've had it out of my entire life. And it's so small. Which was, yesterday, a lot of people would not know this until I'm about to say it. Yesterday, in yesterday's live, I did something that I was extremely, like, in my head, self-conscious about. It's a very new thing that I'm kind of doing. And I'm not actually going to say what that is, but nobody said anything. Nobody, and it clicked in my head since I've been doing these videos. A lot of the things that have been holding me back, they've never been voiced by another person. It's all been in my head. Slightly made me sound crazy. But, and it was the first time that I had put those 2 connections together with, wait, all these times you've had great ideas, or all these times you wanted to wear this, or look like that, or all this other stuff, you stopped yourself because you thought the world would reject you, but in reality, my own self was rejecting me. Like, I was shooting myself down before I even could show the world. And last night, like, for some reason, that clicked in me. And I was like, wait, my entire life's been a lie. So, that's a huge step for me. How the hell and where the hell and what direction I'm going with that after this, I have no idea. But, for the people that don't know, and I believe I've stated this before, I've recently come to the current terms, which, at the same time, like, I don't care if I'll get into that, but I'm androgynous. That's me. It fits me. And basically what that means is I do not fit into both caste of male or female. I kind of, in my head, I'm honestly, like, I love that balance. In my head, it makes more sense for me to balance masculine and feminine energy. And it's so weird that I'm saying that too, because I know for some men and some women may feel like this too, but in the craft, it can be kind of like, it's so female power, which is fine. Of course, that's what witchcraft originally, I understand all of this. But there's so much talk of the goddess, and for those men that are they're just kind of raised by it, and for the people that, if you're not a man, you understand what I'm about to say though, there was that certain generation to where, and it's also how you were raised, and if you actually did have a father figure in your life or didn't have a father figure, and all this other shit, but, it's kind of like my partner. He's a mindfuck. Complete paradox mindfuck. In the simple fact, he doesn't fall into any stereotypes, but the one thing he does, and we butt heads with it, is he still has that I am a man. There are certain things men do, there are certain things men don't do, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and this, and then there's this whole gender thing with certain things. For one, I'm not getting into the conversation with the LGBT on, like, gender rights and everything like that. It's not what I'm saying. But what I mean by that is I've always been drawn, honestly, I believe in one of my past lives, I was a chick. I totally, truly believe that. And I'm not going into detailing on this live of why I state that, but this year, though, was the first year that I had actually kind of came into myself, I guess, started to realize more things about me, and yesterday I did something that falls in the line of that, and nobody batted an eye. So, like, it was fermentation that a lot of the issues that I thought people would have, it's all in my head. Why I just said that in this video, I don't know, but there is a reason that I said it. I know all of these videos, somehow there's some type of message that if you see it, or the way that I've set it up in my head for these videos, if you randomly come across this video, or if you come across this video in your timeline, and you only get to hear one part of it, maybe that was the part that you were supposed to hear. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I've talked to people, and some of the stuff that I said, it rang true to them, and the other stuff it didn't, and that's perfectly fine. Again, the point of these videos are to just, well, educate. I guess. Educate, change people's views, help people, heal people. I don't know. But I am about to go over this one. I'm not getting off just yet. That sounded weird. And I'm also breaking a cardinal rule that I have. But, also, tomorrow's live may not be in the same surroundings that you see right now. Hello! I may be, in town tomorrow. I'm not for sure. I still have to sort that out. But if I do, then all the lives that I have currently not been able to post on YouTube will be up and running. But, yes. So, the reason that I said this card was so cool, and I was hoping it was going to do this, but, I wasn't for sure. So, we've been breaking these decks down, this Halloween Oracle deck, since mid-October. And hindsight, if I would have done all this at the beginning of October, we would have finished it in October, but this works out perfectly. Anyways, this is one of my favorite cards in this entire deck. Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's exactly. And these videos have helped me in so many other aspects of my life. Y'all haven't seen yet, but y'all will see them very soon. Okay, apparently I won't. The other card, because we have one more card that I'll be going over tomorrow, but it is what, people? The Witch. I love this imagery on this. Oh yeah, I got my coffee right here. And yes, I do drink coffee. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm very energized. But so the witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. I love this card so much. I also just love that picture. There's one or two things, but anyways. Okay, so earth, air, fire, water, a woman lovely, a woman strange, weaver of the worlds, moon's daughters, witch, the catalyst for change. Witches have had a bad PR day for a couple of millennia now. Understatement. Originally, the healers are cunning women and or men of the village. The very word witch comes from the Celtic word I want to say Wicca, but I think it's Wicce, W-I-C-C-E, meaning weaver or wise. When the new religion of Christianity spread through the land, the condonants of the old pagan ways, in part, witches were labeled as evil, and, as we know from history, persecuted. They were driven underground or under the night sky into the shadows of the misunderstanding and darkness. However, for the purpose of Halloween, let's look at witches as the weavers of magic and change. Through spells and rituals, and even through herbal recipes, yes, often brewed in the cauldron. Yes, that is awesome. Okay, I don't know. I wish I did have a cauldron big enough that I could legit brew stuff in. I would brew so and cook so much stuff anyways. They weave the powers of this world and the next in synergy to solve problems and heal. Holding the witch card means that you can weave your own change throughout your life, and that magic indeed is afoot. You must understand that you have the power and it is real. It may also indicate that others may be threatened by your developing personal power and that they may not appreciate all or like the changes in you as you grow. But be prepared for this and do not be discouraged. New friends and better opportunities will be attracted instead. That's also insane because if anybody watched my live from yesterday, the first thing that I kind of went off on this rant about, it was basically that. Not to get back into it, but basically, when you grow as a witch, when you grow as a spiritual person, when you start to shift your vibrations, there will be family, there will be friends, there will be all different types of people that are going to start coming out of the fucking woodwork, basically trying to smush that light out, to smush that spark, to tell you that you're crazy, to tell you to stop doing this, to stop doing that, to stop all of this stuff. And when you get haters, when you get people like that, know right then and there, that is a spiritual communication, validation that you're doing something right. It's just like if you burn sage and somebody doesn't come to your house because they don't like burning sage, well, obviously it may be working then. Think about it. If you have somebody who does not want to come in your sacred space or come to your house or anything like that, due to the, which I personally I haven't dealt with this, but I know people that have, just due to the sole purpose that you burn sage or do anything like that, right? Well, obviously it's working because the point of burning sage and stuff like that is to keep negative people out of your life. Well, obviously it's working because the person doesn't want to come to my house. See there? But, I've learned these from these videos. Now, true enough, I have not actually, knock on wood, that nobody has actually, thrown shade my way directly to me since I've been doing these videos. Now, prior to that, I found some stuff out that, on the other hand, yeah. And it's so funny because I'm sorry, but at the same time, I did want to put this out there because I personally realized this. when you answer the calling to either spirituality or to a magical path or practice, you will lose people. But, and some people disagree with what I'm about to say, the people that you lose, there's a reason you lost them. In other words, I truly believe that saying that, you have people that come in your life for a reason and or a season, with that, I believe that when we awaken, when we start rising these vibrations and realizing that everything that, we were taught to believe is actually wrong, the people that do tend to just fade into the back, or just straight up tell you, no, we're done right now. This is the end of, this relationship. We're done. Then that's the universe's way of saying those people were going to either A, hold you back, B, somehow in some way, basically, they were going to, I don't want to say bad in a negative way, but they were going to oppress you. And we don't need that. We need people that, like I've stated in a body positive, just a positive message for everybody out there that I posted on here and my YouTube. The people that you need around you, you need the people that, and the way that I did this was, for me, example, I have depression and a bunch of other stuff. So some small attachments, like me getting out of the bed and cleaning or washing dishes, to one person or to certain people, that's an everyday task. But if you have a group of people and a support system to where you can tell them, well, when they ask you, what'd you do today? And you're like, well, I didn't do much, but I did wash the dishes. That in itself, for some people, especially for me on my bad days, with me getting up washing the dishes or getting up doing small things, it may seem small, but to me, and at that moment, it's literally like climbing Mount fucking Everest. And you need people around you that see that, and they will encourage that. You need people that encourage growth. If you have anybody in your life that every single time you mention you want to change a look or you want to do something that's new and exciting, and they say no or something like that. Now, of course, I'm mainly talking about spirituality and magic, and you can take that however you want to, but we need people to boost us. We need people that, our energies are all going to not just feed on one another, but they're going to in sync, and you're just going to rise. And that's what you need. You need people, because I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, I'm a painter. I've had so many people throughout my entire life tell me that, even with my craft and my practice, I've had people tell me that I'm not going to go anywhere, you're not going to be able to make money, you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to do that, you're not going to be able to make a career. Motherfucker, look where I am now. True enough, no. Am I making money? No, that's not the point. But at the same time, I've sold art, I've sold photography, I've done photo shoots. But what I mean by that is you need people that, instead of telling you, oh, it's just a pipe dream, that keep going. Because I'm that type of person, and I've had it multiple times. A good friend of mine, actually, who passed away earlier this year, we had a talk last year in 2018, and it was kind of like that. I'm so glad these videos found you. I don't know if you'd heard it before, but literally that's how these work. If you find this video, then you were supposed to hear it. And thank you and everybody else who did share this. Thank you so much. But you need people that, will actually, honestly, it's like a plant. If you have a flower, if you talk to it over and over again, it encourages it to grow. It will grow. True enough, I will say, when it comes to plants, believe it or not, scientifically, they like hardcore heavy metal rock music if you're going to play something. But music does help them grow. But if you talk to them and say, hey, you need to grow. Like, personally, I'm having an issue with one of my aloe plants, but I think it's the pot that I have it in. Since me bringing them inside, these are my 3 pride and joys, because these are the first things that I've actually successfully been able to grow and, continuously growing. For the next, I brought them in, I think, mid-October, and they've grown, 4 inches from then. I was shocked of how much they've grown, but it's also because my partner pointed out, I sing a lot. I may not be a good singer or have a good singing voice, but I sing. It helps me with my anxiety, and it helps me stay out of my head. Um, and apparently my plants like the singing. My cat, on the other hand, is 50-50 with my singing. But we all have to realize, going back to the witch card and kind of this one, for one, we also all have moments in our lives where everything kind of pauses. But that's also, know that when things pause or they start to fall away, it's because the things that are falling away, it's because they're not going to serve you. There's no purpose for them in your life. But the witch, always remember, and even if you are a witch, or if you're not a witch, or if you're new to this, like I call it, the term that I use is sprout, we are literally people of the stars. As in, we have everything, all the ingredients the cosmos and universes are made out of, we have it in us. We are made out of it. We are made from the stars. So therefore, we have abilities. We have the power to make real change in our lives. It's just we have to wake up and step up and be like, oh, I see that I have power. Words are power. Words are extremely powerful. And emotion behind that makes it even more powerful. But you need people in your life that, like you stated, you have a hard time getting out of bed like I do. But those moments where you do get out of that bed and then you have a text or you have a person that says, that's great, you accomplished something today. That is such the most incredible feeling. And my partner, he's really good at that, where, like, to me, I'll just say, well, I didn't really do much. I did this, this, and that. And he'll look at me and he's like, you've had moments where you couldn't even do that. He goes, you have to stop, comparing yourself to that's one of my biggest problems. I'll kind of almost compare myself to what I think every other normal person my age is. And then that's also when I have to realize, wait, you're not normal. You do have, bipolar and stuff like that. So it's all in a perspective, and social media and stuff like that, it can be the devil, but used right, which is hopefully where these videos and this page and then my YouTube page and all this other stuff, hopefully it's going to go. It's going to create that close-knit community to where you don't have to necessarily be a witch, but at the same time, I want people to be so comfortable to where if they're not a practitioner, they could message me or could come up to me, which is one of the reasons I wear my pentagram. I always wear my pentagram. There are certain moments where I will, tuck it behind my shirt, but other than that, I wear it not to, throw it in everybody's face that I'm a witch or anything like that, but it's also, I know for a fact that if somebody were to come up to me and ask me why I wear it, what that stands for, I will actually be able to educate them on the reason I wear it, and then what the actual purpose of it is. AKA that it's not automatically linked to Satan. Satan is a Christian concept, not a pagan concept. Or not a New Age spiritual concept, kind of. Like, we have evil and stuff like that, but yeah. Anyways. If you do like these, I do these lives Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this page. Every week I've been doing these. But I am about to go really quick because I have some other stuff to do. But, yes, with that, tomorrow, for the people that join in, we will officially be finishing the Halloween Oracle deck. Also, I need to know if y'all want to move on to the Medicine Wheel Meditational Oracle deck, start breaking that down alphabetically, or if you want to do the Green Witch Tarot cards that I have. If we pick the tarot cards, then I will start this in January, because I will be breaking these down, starting with the Major Arcana to the Minor Arcana, and then breaking the minor ones down by element, and or, suit, chalice, wand, athame. So yeah, but I do need to know that, because if not, and we want to do the Oracle cards, which are these right here, I will be doing these. I'll probably start these the following week, next Monday. So, yes, yeah. Thank y'all all so much for joining me on these lives. Like I said, I do these Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this page. Thank you. I'm so glad you tuned into, and I'm so glad that what I said was resonating with you. Yeah. If this does resonate with you, or if anybody else does see this once I'm not actually live, share it. You don't have to share it necessarily on your profile. Send it to a friend, get it out there. But yeah, I do these Monday through Friday. I also do offer services. Just inbox me on this page. And yeah, until then, I hope y'all all have a magical, awesome full moon. And since I don't know your life, I hope you have a good morning, good day, good night, good evening. Like I said, I don't know your life. You could be coming home from work. You could be going to work, or yeah. So, without further ado, peace.